Everyone, welcome to another video. Oh, right after this. Sorry about that. Didn't see that coming. But welcome to another video. Today I'm going to do my next tier list. I know I said I'd do another fandom, but I've decided that since I'm still into my Supernatural phase, which I don't think is ever going to end, I'm going to do a Supernatural ship tier list. Now, so as you can see, the list says favorite ships, respect it. I see it, but I don't ship it. Don't like it. Why is it even a ship and illegal? I will not be putting any ships in the illegal tier today, as there are a lot of ships like Wincest and incest ships that I just don't want to talk about, as I don't really like talking about that stuff. But if you do want me to rank those ships as well, feel free to leave a comment talking about it. But other than that, I'm going to tell you all about my favorite ships and least favorite ships. My all-time favorite will still remain a secret, but if you all think you can guess it, go ahead and guess it in the comments. All right, so first up, we have Sam and Sarah. Even though she's only in 2 episodes, those two are going in my favorite ships tier. I love Sarah. She was like, apart from Jessica, the perfect love interest for Sam. And I dare to say even a lot better, as she knew about the hunting life. She was pretty fierce, and I believe due to her few episodes we see her, and she could definitely kick butt on the battlefield. I actually did a whole series. I'm still working on one with their daughters, so I definitely have no regrets saying that they're one of my favorite ships in the whole Supernatural universe, even though she's only in 2 episodes. And there's so many opportunities for her to come back. I feel like the writers, because Supernatural went so long, they kind of just forgot about her. But that's all right. I mean, I understand. There's a lot of characters in Supernatural, and the story's about Sam and Dean, so I understand it. All right, next up we have Sam and Jessica. Picture's a GIF, so I apologize for that. But I really like Sam and Jessica. Again, with Jessica, we don't see her much. We see her mainly in flashbacks or dreams or just in the first episode, because she does die in the pilot. But you could definitely tell how much she and Sam love each other. I definitely do think that if they had gotten married, they would have been very happy. I don't know if they would have stayed together, as I'm unsure as to how she would have handled the Supernatural, but I don't think she would ever blame him for what happened to her. She seems like a pretty cool person and kind person, so I think definitely that she would have been happy for him. I don't know if she'd become a hunter like him. She'd probably try to avoid that, but that's all up for debate, and that's one of the cool things about Jessica, is the fans can make guesses about what she would and would not do. All right, next up we have Sam and Eileen. That is a ship I respect. I kind of have my ifs and buts on Eileen as well. I do really like her character. I feel like her story with Sam could have gone a little bit differently. They're a very cute couple, and I love how he learned sign language to communicate better with her, and he does have feelings for her, and I love how he uses the spell to bring her back. And while it hasn't been confirmed, I do think it's very possible they could have gotten married. The reason why I put it under respect and not my favorite ships is due to the fact that we don't really see much about Eileen apart from the relationship being hunting. We do hear about them going out on a date or having a kiss, and that's really cool. But apart from that, it feels like mostly their relationship is about the hunt they met on. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I feel like that could have been taken a different way. And I just don't, I don't want to make everyone upset with this, but before you all attack me in the comments, I do really like Eileen's character. She's just not my favorite character. But I definitely do think the two of them are probably settled down, married, and they had Sam's son, Little Dean. All right, next up we have Sam and Madison. I also really like Sam and Madison, but they are not my favorite, as she, of course, only appeared in 1 episode. And she did also die at the end. But I really respect it because I love romance stories with werewolves and a human. I'm not a big fan of Twilight, and before you all attack me in the comments, that's a story for a whole other day. But I do love love stories with a werewolf and a human, especially when it's a hunter. That's a new one for me. But because she was only in 1 episode, I can't really say much more about it. They definitely had a connection, and I definitely would have loved to see more of her. Because I definitely think if she had appeared more and they would have gotten together, she definitely would have moved up. But yeah, because she only appeared in one episode and she did unfortunately die, and unlike some werewolves we see later on, she didn't refrain from hurting anyone. She goes in the respect here. All right, next up we have Sam and Amelia. I do not like it. And I am going to put this why it's even a ship. I know a lot of people probably really do like Sam and Amelia, as she did make him happy when Dean wasn't around. But I am not a big fan of Amelia. She's one of the few people that Sam has been with that I actually don't like, due to the fact that because of Sam's story arc in the beginning of season 8, it seemed so unlike him. For all of reason, he would never leave Dean in purgatory, especially for a girl. And Amelia's storyline easily could have been replaced with one of Sam's other love interests. Like I said this in my last Cheerless video, her storyline could have easily been replaced with Sarah, and it would have been a lot better. As Amelia feels like the only girl who's actually gotten Sam and Dean to basically split, as Sam was so mad that Dean sent him a phantom text about Amelia being in trouble when really she wasn't. And they didn't talk for a long while. Sam was like, I'm done hunting, I don't want to do this anymore. And of course his character arc is learning to accept that, but definitely by season 8 he had come to accept that. And I will say that I do like the theory about her actually not being real. That's a bit of an interesting theory, but a sad theory, because if that is true, it means Sam had lost his mind with Dean not being there. But that's also a story for another day. And I think I've said everything I need to about it. And the last thing I will say is I also don't like it because Amelia was basically having an affair with Sam. I will say this about stories about couples who are having affairs with each other. I do not like affairs. I think that it's betrayal of marriage. And I believe you should be with one person, not multiple. But I will take some points off of that, as Amelia did not know that Don was still alive. But still, I do not like it. All right, so next up we have Sam and Gabriel. And let's address the elephant in the room before you all attack me in the comments saying I'm a homophobic person. I should say that I'm a member of the LGBTQ community. So I'm going to put Sam and Gabriel in the I see it, but I don't ship it. I have always been intrigued by Sam and Gabriel. I'm not even sure where it comes from. But I can see it in later seasons, and the first 5 seasons that we see them together, they definitely have a kind of antagonist relationship, and they do work out a little bit towards the end of season 5 when Gabriel quote unquote dies for them. But I never really saw much of romantic tension between them, not until really season 13, where Gabriel's like, I need you. Sorry, Sam says, Gabriel, I need you. And even though that is really sweet, I don't see how all of that could apply to love. I will say that I have read a few Sam and Gabriel fan fictions that have been really good. So I do see it, but I don't ship it. And I do respect it. I would move it up, but due to the fact that Gabriel is an archangel and 3,000 years older than Sam, I don't think that would be a good idea to ship them. And because Sam would, of course, grow old and die. And due to the fact that Gabriel's an archangel, he's been around since the beginning of time. So there's a huge age difference there. All right, next up we have Dean and Lisa. They are definitely going in the favorite ships. I love Dean and Lisa. They have the greatest, one of the greatest chemistry that Dean has ever had with most women, and I'm including Anna on that list. I love the fact that he lives with her. I love the fact that she reflects with Jessica. I love the fact that Lisa has a son, Ben. And despite what the show says, I am definitely saying Ben is Dean's son too. You cannot convince me that isn't his son. I love how she supports him. I love how she does try her best to have things work out, even though she does get mad at him during season 6, as she should be, as Dean did push Ben. He, of course, didn't mean to. He was a vampire at the time and was trying to avoid hurting him. But definitely, that's a couple that definitely showed that even though Dean accepts the 100 life, he does also dream of settling down. And apologies to all the SDL fans out there, because I know those you guys can be a little bit brutal. But that is Lisa's the most favorite ship I have with Dean. She is the best one. All right, next up we have Dean and Anna. I do not like it. I do not like Anna. Although from what I've seen, Anna and Dean is actually a ship that's still shipped by multiple people. The main reason I don't really like it is due to the fact that even though they had a strong connection in the beginning and Anna was meant to originally take Castiel's place, her character kind of went downhill during season 5 when she's like, hey, so I'm going to kill Sam and Dean's parents so they can kill Sam so that I can save the world. Well, to her that probably is great, but if she kills Sam and Dean's parents, that means Dean is also never born. So despite the temporary fling they had, it means she doesn't even really care about Dean or Sam being born, and she just cares about, well, basically murder. And even though that probably would save the world, it's very possible that, as we saw with Sam and Dean not being born, the world would still come to an end. So either way, Anna's still kind of doomed, was trying to doom humanity, and she didn't realize she was doing it. So I do not like it. Next up, we have Dean and Amara, even though I really hesitated putting this up there as a ship. Why is this even a ship? Even though I do kind of like the connection that Amara has with Dean, and I do see in some moments where it definitely seems like he has feelings for her, I don't actually know if that's real love. Because it seems like the entire time, even though Amara is, like, drawn to him and Dean seems drawn to her, I don't think it's actually love. I think Amara is just amazed by the fact that her brother is able to create something so wonderful. And it seems like she's more drawn to him than he is to her. And it's a little creepy the way she's a little bit obsessed with him. But plus there's the whole age difference thing, because she's, talking about the age difference between Sam and Gabriel being like 3,000 years, Amara is older than Gabriel. She's older than Chuck. So I definitely don't think that relationship is acceptable. I would put it in the legal, but I promise I wouldn't put any ships there. So yeah, that is a relationship I'm not even sure is a ship. I will say this: if Amara was actually a human and wasn't kind of evil, maybe I would see things differently. Alright, so next up we have a ship that I actually didn't know about until recently, but I guess I should have seen it, and that is Dean and Benny, the two best friends. I see it, but I don't ship it. The two clearly are just best friends, and it's okay for a guy to be friends with a guy. You see this a lot in fandoms where two people who are best friends and people immediately start shipping them, but I agree to that on some level, because sometimes it definitely are a lot of signs that they're in love. But with Dean and Benny, it definitely seems like they're just friends. As Benny already did mention in an episode that he was in love with a woman who we do actually see. And I definitely don't feel like there's any romantic interest. There might have been, as Benny does seem a little bit flirty, but I don't see Dean being interested in Benny other than just a friend. So I see it, but I don't ship it. Next up, we have Dean and Cassie. It's an okay ship. She's once again only in one episode, and they did date briefly, but I don't really ship it. I feel like Cassie is a little bit boring, and due to the fact that her only interactions with Dean is them talking, them yelling at each other, then having sex, and then them talking again later. Even though he does save her, I'm still like, and she also did break his heart, but I will give them points for them being technically Dean's first love in the show, as he didn't have a one-night stand with her. He actually dated her, so that shows that he did care about her for some level. Alright, so next up we have everyone's favorite Angel and Meg Steele. Now I'm going to shock all of you and probably a lot of my viewers here. I respect Meg Steele. It is a ploy on the star-crossed lovers, which, even though I'm not a fan of Romeo and Juliet, the story itself, I love the concept of it. And even though I'm not a big fan of Meg, I do really like the chemistry that he has with Meg. It's very funny, especially like when he's crazy and he's literally talking about how much he cares about her, and Meg's just not having it. And how later on she chooses, because of her love for him, to turn against Crowley and help the Winchesters out. And that's pretty good. I do like that their relationship turned her into a better, I don't know if I should say better person or better demon, but it made her a better character. I liked her a lot more, and you can definitely see he still cares about her, as when he goes to the empty and sees that the empty has taken the form of Meg, he's so happy because he thinks it's Meg, and then the empty's like, nah, she's still dead, and Meg is, Castiel's like, how dare you impersonate her? So you can definitely tell he cares a lot about her. Now, that being said, even though I do like it, it's probably not my favorite Castiel ship, but that one is definitely next, and that would be Castiel and Hannah. I know we don't see Hannah a lot much, and technically the two of them are brother and sister, but I don't know if that really counts when it comes to angels. Feel free to talk to me about that in the comments if you want. The two definitely are soldiers together in a battle. You see they have a lot of respect for each other, and she does admit when she's with him, she says, I feel things for you, human things. And he really does his best to show her everything he's learned on Earth and how much he cares about her. So I definitely do really like the fact that they change each other as she helps him become a better leader. She believes in him, and he helps her also become a leader as she leaves heaven. And he was really sad during her death. Even though there was that kind of brief betrayal, I definitely don't think it was intentional. She does immediately try and help him. And I'm very sad that she is dead, but I feel like that's just a supernatural trope. If Sam Dean Castiel has a lover, that lover has to go, which is really sad, but that is kind of how the supernatural world works. Alright, so next up we have Castiel and Kelly. Kelly is Jack's mother, and I'm going to put it in I see it, but I don't ship it. I know they did have a connection, especially before Jack was born, but I don't think it was a romantic one. I think they were just friends. It's possible Kelly might have had an interest in him, but I'm not entirely sure if that was her, if that was Jack wanting to connect with Castiel, because as we know from the show, Jack really did see Castiel as his father. So it's hard to say whether or not that's legit or not. Although he did protect her for a very long time and promised her that he would take care of her son and raise him like he was his own. So I definitely will have to say that I'll give them points for that. All right, next up we have Dean and Joe, and that is a ship I definitely really like. It may come into play with the whole age thing, as I'm not entirely sure how old Joe is, but it definitely is very cute, and I love the fact that even though Joe teases him and fights with him, you can definitely see that there's definitely a romantic connection there, and he definitely does care for her, as she wants to be a hunter like her dad, and even though they had that brief moment in season 2 where they didn't talk to each other, definitely showed that she was no damsel in distress, and I love the fact that women who are no damsels in distress often put Dean in his place, like, oh, you want to save me? I'm going to save you. And and it was really bittersweet to that their death, before her death, that they shared a kiss. So I definitely think they're definitely canon, and I wish they'd lasted a longer time. All right, next up we have, I'm not entirely sure if this is a ship, but I found it, and that is Claire and Jack. I will say that even though I like both characters, I don't ship it. Those two, if they ever did interact on screen, would definitely be a brother and sister dynamic. And my best friend and I did a whole series about that. And the part with Jack and Claire, the two were definitely siblings. They were not lovers. I don't even know if that would work, as Jack did show a little bit interest in that one girl on that one hunt, but I actually don't know if he's old enough to have romantic feelings yet, because he is 3. And then Claire definitely seems to have more of an interest in hunting than finding a partner, so I don't know if those two would even work out. Alright, so next up we have two ships that are actually real in real life, but in the show it's questionable. So we have Sam and Ruby, and then we have Dean/Michael and Sister Jo. Now I will say this, due to the fact that both sets of these actors are married, and I love Jared's relationship with Jen, and I love Justin's relationship with Danielle. I don't think that either of these relationships would be very healthy, as Ruby's relationship with Sam was pretty toxic, even though I really do like the fact that they worked really well together. and had some good chemistry, as the chemistry clearly was real as they did get married. And Jared has confirmed that Sam did actually have feelings for her. It's hard to say whether or not Ruby felt it the same way or that was just manipulation. If it had gone differently and it was actually confirmed that Ruby actually did feel the way about him and she actually did want to change, I feel like that could have been an interesting turn. Same goes with NIL. I don't actually, she never really had a relationship with Dean. She just had that one kind of romantic scene with Michael. But I definitely think some people do ship them because of the fact that Jensen and Danielle are, of course, married. But I definitely don't think Dean doesn't seem to like NIL that much, and NIL obviously doesn't care about anyone. She just likes to be a good businesswoman. So, all right. So next we've come to the elephant in the room that I've tried to avoid. Let's talk about Destiel and Sastiel. Now, before you all attack me in the comments for not liking your favorite ship, I should also say that I am still a member of the community and I don't wish to be attacked. I'm going to say that I see it, but I don't ship it. Sam, Dean, and Castiel, whoever you want to ship them with, the three of them are clearly best friends. And even though I will definitely say that Dean definitely seems to have a better relationship with Castiel. I do not think there are any romantic feelings between either of them. Dean seems to really like the ladies. I will argue that it's possible for Dean to be gay, and they just didn't want to do that throughout the show, as we did have the love confession at the end from Castiel. But I do have a bit of a history with Destiel. It's because it was so popular. I actually went to the show believing that it would be one of my favorite ships because I love gay ships. But as soon as I saw it, I'm like, well, Dean really digs the ladies, and at the beginning, he and Cass are not really fans of each other. And there are times definitely where I do see it, like Dean does get very depressed when Cass turns on them or Cass is dead. But that's typical for any best friend. If I lost my best friend, I'd be depressed too. So that is where I'm going to stay, and please don't post in the comments because I said that I'm a homophobic person. I'm going to keep saying that all video. Alright, next up we have Charlie and Dorothy. It's not really a ship that gets much attention, and I don't even know if it's considered canon, but I really like it. I do like the fact that since Charlie is in a girls, that she deserves to have a happy ending too. And we all know how her story ended. Ugh. Still too soon. But I love the way they interact, as Dorothy kind of is annoyed with Charlie due to the fact that Charlie is a fan of her, but she definitely brings out the better side of Dorothy, and the two definitely share a connection as they went to Oz together. So I can only imagine what happened during that adventure in Oz. Alright, so we're getting into some dark area here. Alright, next up we have Castiel and Crowley. I do not like Castiel and Crowley. Even though I'm a big fan of Crowley and Castiel, I do not think the two would be a good duo. The two seem to be a more reluctant friend group, as Castiel has said right to Crowley's face, when you betray us, I'll be the one to carve out your heart. I don't think it's the kind of relationship you want to have with someone, at least not a romantic one. If your romantic partner says to you, I want to carve out your heart, whenever the time may be, that's not a good thing. And plus, the two are just polar opposite and always competing to give the Winchesters advice, so I don't think that would work. I don't even think the two would really like each other. Which could be argued, it could be a haters to lovers kind of thing, but I still don't like it. Alright, so next up we have Sam with the devil and Dean with Michael. Now, I am putting this, and why is this even a ship, for two reasons. The first one is, when it comes to, even though I know Sam shipped with good old Lucy is very popular, that should not be a ship. First of all, not only is the whole age difference thing, but the devil tortured him in the cage for an entire year. And since that was in hell, that could have been like 100 years. Because we know time works differently there. So not only is that an abusive relationship, and it's very well been hinted that Sam was actually raped, that is not a relationship you would ever want anyone to go through. And Well, the same can't be said for Dean. Dean was practically mind raped when he was inside of Michael, as Apocalypse World. Michael rode him for a long time and did who knows how long. And when Dean wouldn't cooperate, he locked him up inside his own mind and kept him there. So I do not believe either of those should even be a ship. Apologies if that is your ship, but you and I need to have a conversation about why you enjoy shipping people who like raping their partner. Alright. Hot take alert. Alright, next up we have Sam and the Queen of Hell herself, the White-Eyed Demon. I also don't know why that is a ship, because for one, it is another... I don't want to say it's an abusive relationship, but it's definitely a manipulative one. The only evidence I can even have that she had any feelings for him, which she definitely didn't. Every few times she tries to flirt with him, but that's not even really flirting. Like, even when she gives him a kiss, she's like, "It's good to finally meet you. Now I'm gonna kill you." So that's not even really romantic banter. That's just them being rivals and her being like, I really want your intestines on a stick, but I'm going to kiss you anyway because you're pretty. And, yeah. All right. So next up we have Bobby and Jody. And that's a ship I actually really like. It's not really talked about much throughout because I think it was kind of like the one episode deal and then it was never brought up again because it was during season 7 and Bobby did eventually die during that season. But I do really like that. I think the two had a good connection. They started out as not liking each other. They became friends, and she unintentionally helped him out with the Leviathans when they were hunting, and she became a good hunter too. She kind of became like the Bobby to Claire, Jody, Claire, and Alex, and even Patience. So I definitely can say those two definitely had a connection, and I thought it was cute. All right, next up we have Bobby and Ellen. And I'm definitely going to respect that, especially in the one episode where you see they get married. I know they didn't interact much on screen apart from that, but I definitely think they had a connection. It can be argued there probably wasn't any romantic tension in the main timeline, as they only got together when the Angels unsunk the Titanic. But because of that and the fact that they did get married and they still really cared a lot about each other, I do think that that is a great ship. Actually, let's move it up. I'm going to put it to my favorite. They both deserved better. Alright, next up we have Mary and John. And even though I've shared my thoughts about both Mary and John, it is definitely one of my favorite ships. As without those two, we would never have Sam and Dean. And we don't want a world without Sam and Dean. So that is definitely something that we can't have, as we saw what would happen in Apocalypse World. And the two are definitely more than just a match made in heaven, as they do really love each other, and even though they're always torn apart, they always find a way back to each other, and that is very sweet. And so that's the last ship of the day, you guys. There's a few more that I didn't get to, but this video is getting kind of long, so I don't want to get to it. And let me know what you all thought in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!